we've been going in early. So that's why we have this as a clickbait plan. If my product is good and I believe in what we are building, they will stay.
What have you learned around like nestling into a space where there's already some juggernauts?
This is controversial, right? If you cannot get my hiring managers in your system doing the work, you're fired.
All right, I'm here with Tushar Makhija. Tushar is the co-founder and CEO at TeamOhana. TeamOhana is a collaborative workforce intelligence platform that unifies finance, HR, and talent data so companies can plan headcount in real time and stay on budget. He co-founded the company in 2021 after 6 months of customer discovery with CFOs and heads of people. There are around 30 employees. They're between 1 to 5 million ARR, though way above the 1 million. And I have him join here today to talk a little about founding story, growth, what's working for you guys. You have some impressive customers, I would say. I saw Vercel as a customer. So thank you for joining me, Tushar.
No, Finn, great to be here. Thanks for having me and excited to chat with you and your community of fellow founders and growth hackers.
Cool. Now, the very first thing that stood out to me that I don't know if you guys have solved this already or figured out already, but it looks like you're selling
Mm-hmm.
both into the finance and the HR function. And
Mm-hmm.
how has that evolved? Did you think you would start out sell into just finance or just HR, and then you learned actually it's other stakeholders too? And then how are you balancing that messaging on the website and you go to market? How do you reach out to people and kind of balance those two personas?
So yeah, I mean, it's conventional wisdom says, pick one, pick your battles. So pick one persona, go deep with that one persona. It's very hard to sell into more than one personas. But I think that itself was the fact that headcount is managed by finance and HR. Workday was one of the first companies, and nobody challenges their success, that openly says that we are the software that unites finance and HR into one platform.
Mm.
So from the very beginning, we have taken a lot of inspiration from how Workday thinks and projects about this problem statement. So back in 2021, when we were talking about this, raising our first pre-seed round, these are the same conversations that came from VCs as well. And I think we said, rather than harping on the CFO or the CHRO, we are talking about headcount. Headcount is the hero and headcount is the villain,
Mm.
right? And it did take some level of early education. So, and the early education was not just for us internally on what we are building, it's also externally for our customers, is that we started using some nuances in how we pitch it. We say, hey, when we talk to the CHRO, we talk about organization. Hey, growing your headcount is growing your organization. Do you want to grow haphazardly or you want to grow in a proper function? And if you go back 2021, we had this whole thing about great resignation, we had about burnout. So the conversations were all tied around the fact that, hey, why are we scaling in a haphazard way? What is the reason why we are leading to layoffs happening, right? It is why, what do you mean by growth at all costs? The same when I talk to a CFO, I just add one more line when I talk about headcount budget. Like, hey, why
Mm.
is your headcount budget not being controlled? Why can't you track the variances or the drift from your budget? And it was the same thing, was like, hey, we are growing haphazardly, we are not really going through a procurement process, right? So we brought what I learned from Airbase, which was spend management that CFOs really care about, and organizational management, which the CHROs care about, and we
Mm.
brought them together. What really worked in our favors and continue to work in our favor is that CFOs and CHROs do see headcount as one, as a
Mm.
shared responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So we just wanted to duck the conventional wisdom that only talk about one thing. And we see some of our competitors doing that. They either go very deep around the rabbit hole of just one function. But at the end of the day, the platform that we are building is clearly, workforce intelligence says all your workforce decisions, all your workforce data, and all the people that have to act on this information. So TeamOhana unites people processes and systems all around your company's workforce, which is your largest investment, and it must be taken care of.
So if I had to summarize that, the idea is that you do sell to two different functional and persona, but the uniting factor is that they care about this one thing that they have in common, which is headcount. And so the thing that you talk about is headcount, why headcount is important, why you need to manage it, the implications of it, and that will naturally attract both HR and finance leaders. Okay.
Exactly. And it's like sales and marketing. When that is truly how you should look at this, right? Just having pipeline is not enough. When we think, even today, when we think about pipeline, we think about marketing generated pipeline, which is true inbound, marketing influence pipeline, then outbound, which is
Mm-hmm.
AE led outbound, BDR led outbound, founder led outbound. But all of this has to come together, because eventually when you hear about TeamOhana, what is our audience going to do first? They are going to only go to two places. They are either going to go to LinkedIn to check out me and our homepage, our LinkedIn page, or they're going to go to our website and then
Mm-hmm.
navigate to the LinkedIn page, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like sales and marketing have to truly work in sync so that the company generates revenue, finance and HR have to truly work in sync so that for them to be able to plan and manage their headcount.
Yeah. And is it correct to say that you guys sell into mid-market? Is that how you
We
would
started off in
characterize
the
it?
mid market. We started off in the mid market solely between, and that was my forte, and that was my biggest learning when I was at Airbase as well.
Yeah.
So we started selling between 150 to 1,000. In the
Mm-hmm.
last 18 months, we have now acquired customers that are 5,000 and also 8,000 employees. So now we are
Mm-hmm.
breaking into what I call the early enterprise. So now
Mm-hmm.
our range is from 150 employees all the way up to 15,000 person company, and that's the new place. That's why we went through a rebrand, and we did a lot of we raised a second round because we know we are expanding our both product capability, teams capability, and also our branding and messaging.
So just for the mid-market, so those 150 to 1,000 customers, can you give me a rough idea of ACV? Because I think it will place you a
Yeah,
little bit.
around $30,000. Around
Okay.
$30,000.
And then
Yeah,
I'm guessing
we
as
are
you go up
very
market, you're starting to get into the six-figure range eventually.
early. I would say largest deal size today is around 95.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that is for the around 5,000 mark. As we get closer to 8,000 and 10,000, it's closer to between 100 and 150.
So how did you decide to now already, let's say, go up market? Because you raised a seed round relatively recently.
Mm-hmm.
You're below 5 million. I could
Mm-hmm.
see some people arguing you should just stay with the mid market for longer.
So I think let's preface that with a few things, right? First, so it might be a little interesting to just add a couple of two
Hmm.
cents about my background, right? So I'm an
Yeah.
engineer by training. My first foray into venture backed startups was back in around 2012, where I joined after spending almost 10 years being an engineer at companies like VMware. I left and I was like, I want to get into startups. And it was very funny. After a few interviews, I was told I was an all right engineer, but I have this knack of explaining complex technical things to people in simple English words. And
That
I'm
was your
like, okay,
co-founder, right? And now you're
yes,
CTO and
yeah.
co-founder, KP or
He
something?
he was my boss back in HelpShift in 2012. I applied to join as an engineer who wanted to get into product, and he's like, complete bogus. I don't know why you guys think that you can be good PMs or you can be good engineers. But I really like you, Tushar. Why don't you join us in the sales department? We are building this mobile SDK. And back in 2012, mobile SDKs were still new. We are selling into mobile developers who don't like to talk to salespeople, but you can open by saying, when I was at VMware, and everybody will give
Mm,
you respect. So I'm
mm,
like, all right, BG. And BG is now my co founder at TeamOhana as well.
mm.
And he said I should get into sales. So I started really at the bottom, making cold calls and following up on leads. And then after 5 years, we took the company to 20 million in ARR, and I left as CRO. But I think then we went through Airbase, which was also a very help shift. Our deal sizes were close to $1 million, right?
Wow.
But selling into gaming companies is not like selling into Microsoft, right? But then when I came into Airbase, I was there for 2.5 years. Great journey, but that was a pure mid-market play. We were
Mm-hmm.
selling things between 15 and 25, 35K max, right? I think our maximum deal at that time, this is around 2019, early 2020, was around 45K.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and one of the things that when I started TeamOhana, I really wanted to harp on is that, see, when you start a company at 40, you have a lot of good scar tissue, bad scar tissue, some baggage. But there were some decisions that we already wanted to take. There were three key decisions that I told my investors and I told my co-founder and I told my team that number one is that we are not going to do this incremental stuff. We are going to spend the time to build out an idea and we have to scope out. So we wrote basically our manifesto and it still holds true. I show the new manifesto and the old manifesto, and there is around a 70% overlap in that, right? And we were very clear that companies that are buying us are buying, either they are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on Workday, they are spending a few hundred thousands on an implementation of adaptive or Anaplan, and then they are also spending around 70 to 80,000 dollars on NetSuite. So this is what we are going to be compared to. We are compared to FP&A software that is, you buy it for 100 like around 50 to 100,000 dollars, and you spend 100,000 dollars maintaining it and building it out. Then Workday is the same. You probably spend around $500,000 and another 200, 300 to get it all set up on implementation. And then NetSuite is the same. You pay around $50,000 and another $30,000. That's it. So we know that people in this space are used to paying six figures, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they demand that you build a lot of feature. They
Mm-hmm.
don't like to go, and they don't like, CFOs and CHROs don't buy piecemeal stuff because they are
Mm-hmm.
already scared. If we make a wrong decision, we wasted 3 months, we wasted capital. So they will cut once, measure 10 times, not even twice, right? So if we know that the sales cycle is going to be longer, we got to start charging people more money. We have a $15,000 plan, but that is when we realized that there were certain companies. Rad AI is a very good example, right? Prepared 911. These are all new AI companies that raise hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're going to grow very fast. If we go to their head of HR or head of finance and say, hey, you got to pay us $15,000, and in the second year, we know we're going to get almost double. And we've done that
Right.
in with companies, right? Because they're just going to on this crazy trajectory. That's how we got into Vercel. That's how we got into Vanta. That's how we got into Docker.
Mm.
We've been going in early. So that's why we have this as a clickbait plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eventual goal was always to get as close to 100K. Otherwise, you can't really build a long business. The third thing that we have done, so we built out this product, we have our pricing. And the third thing is that we wanted to be a multi-product company. So we have headcount planning, which is all about bringing in new people to the organization. And then we also have compensation planning, which is, okay, what about the existing people? How do you pay them bonuses? How do you pay them merit cycles, right? How do you do salary adjustments? So from the very beginning, we wanted to be at least two product company. And when I put those two things together, now I can go and say, hey, 1,000-person company should at least pay me $8 to $10 PEPM. PEPM is
Mm-hmm.
per employee per month model, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a 100-person company or a 200-person company, then it's a flat fee. Hey, you know what? We don't want anything less than $15,000. But as you grow as a company and you buy multi modules, we know we are going to be able to charge you more money because we are saying, hey, all your organizational data is in one place. You don't have to waste time with multiple system setups. You do onboarding once. You have one support team, one success team helping you, and all your, so what is a GNA team, right? Finance and HR are doing service to everybody else. So now if you tell your VP of finance, VP of engineering that, okay, when you want to manage headcount, go to TeamOhana, but when you want to do compensation, go somewhere else, they're already irritated with you,
Yeah.
right? They're like, why the hell am I doing this? Why is HR software or finance software so bad? So now we literally go tell the finance leader that you're paying for one platform fee, and then you're paying for add-ons. And when
Mm-hmm.
they think about that way, it makes a lot of sense. So a lot of, in the last 3 years, our customers have gone from paying us 25K in the beginning to next 50K, and now couple of them are closer to 5,000 employees, so they are paying us close to 90 or 100K, right?
I love this. I think there's so many useful nuggets in here. A couple follow-up questions. Number one, you said
Mhm.
this manifesto. Is what was that manifesto? Was that like your strategic narrative? Here's what we're going to build and how? Like, tell me what that
Yeah.
was.
So I mentioned this in a couple of minutes back, is right. TeamOhana unites people, processes, and systems.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the tenets of our idea was that traditional enterprise software, especially in the last decade, has been a little longer than the decade, has been sold in silos. If you're the head of HR, I'll come and sell you Workday. If you're the head of finance, I'm going to sell you NetSuite. If you're the head
Mm-hmm.
of FP&A, I'm going to go sell you Anaplan. If then CRM, someone buys a HubSpot on a market or someone buys a Salesforce, right? So these are all. So what is this organically done is created data silos, right? But in the new era, when we have to be more agile and we have to move fast, you cannot have this disconnected data and disconnected systems. So now we don't want to go and take all of the like go into things that we don't know yet, but our focus has been how do I bring together finance and HR data in one platform. So when we said that okay, hey, what is that, our first investor said, I'm investing in an employee data platform. And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
fine, whatever gets me the money, right? You call it what you want to call it, right? We wanted to build a workforce platform, and he was like, oh no, this is an employee data platform. You are going to be the segment on employee data, which is some parts true. We have so much employee data that we have built. We don't want to be a segment now that all our data helps us actually build better AI products. But at the end of the day, the manifesto there was very clear. We need to go and add multiples. Let's go and look at all the systems where the people data is scattered, and then look at all the workflows that are run in spreadsheets that need to operate on that people data. For example, if you want to if you want to create an org chart in PowerPoints, first you'll download and understand the organizational hierarchy, and then people do lucid charts and all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not a spreadsheet workflow, but it's again a disconnected workflow. If you want to have a hiring tracker, okay, how many new roles can I hire, when can I hire, how much can I pay? Talent team keeps a tracker, and they update data from the applicant tracking system. They literally copy it from there and say, okay, these are the roles, this is going to be filled this month, this is going to be filled next month. Finance team has what we call is a forecast, which is what is the existing people, what is the current headcount, what is the future headcount. They add up all those numbers, and they can tell the CFO or the CEO, say, hey, today we are 300 employees, but my forecast says at the end of the year will be 500 employees. Today we are
Mm-hmm.
spending $1 million, tomorrow I'm going to spend $5 million, right? So that's again where how does the finance team run a forecast? They go into Workday and download the employee roster, and then they go into the applicant tracking system to download everything else, which is like the new jobs and everything.
Yep.
So all of this was the let's go, and then compensation planning is another thing, right? You download the employee roster from Workday, download the performance rating from Lattice or Culture Amp, join them together, come up with some business logic that says, okay, Finn has been in the company for 2 years. Finn's last raise was last year, and now Finn is a 4 or a 5, so I need to give Finn 10%. Whatever business logic,
Mm-hmm.
but it is all done manually, right? And then all of this data has to be pushed back into their destination systems. If you change the hiring plan, you have to update the ATS. If you decided to give someone a promotion or fire someone or change someone's salary, you have to go update Workday. If
Yep.
you change the budget or for forecast, you have to go update your financial planning system. So if TeamOhana is sitting in the middle, the manifesto was clear. How do we go and first suck in all the data and then build the workflows that allows people to get out of spreadsheets and then go write the data back, right? So
Yep.
it's basically an orchestration layer that we have built. Um,
Yep.
so you build the orchestration layer that brings in all the data. You have a privacy layer that says, okay, Finn can see X, Tushar can see Y, right? Because this is
Yep.
people information. And then the next piece is the workflow layer. Okay, once you have that access to that data, instead of doing it in a spreadsheet, TeamOhana has enabled a workflow, which is also like a spreadsheet, but it's a spreadsheet in the cloud. It's faster, better, cheaper.
Yeah. Another follow-up question. You
Hmm.
mentioned that one of the things that you guys did is start with mid-market and actually have this
Yeah.
15K entry
Hmm.
price. that you
Yeah.
knew you would just kind of grow with.
Mhm.
Um, would you generalize this as advice to SaaS founders that you start with mid market, you have some sort of entry 10, 15, 20K price, and then you kind of expand from there and you slowly go up market as kind of your customers tell you?
Personally, I am a very big proponent of that. But you have to look at the buyers that you are selling into, right? Everybody is risk averse now. Post COVID, I think everybody is risk averse. They don't want to look buying software that does not work. They want things to move very fast, right? So what we had decided that if someone buys a product for $15,000, what value can we deliver to them in 4 weeks? It was a very clear thing. So
Mm,
the whole essentials package is not just about $15,000. So one is, if someone can't cough up $1,000 a month, they are not a serious buyer. I don't want to
right.
waste time on them, right? I don't want to be in that business. So I was just like very dogmatic about it. The second thing was, because if I say 15, someone is going to come and ask me for some discounts. I'm going to end up around 10 to 12 anyways, right?
Hmm.
It's going to be discount. It's the world is not moved past the fact, right? But if I go and put 20 and then I try to come down to 15, it's in their head, people can't do that math. 15K divide by 12 still sounds around $1,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
So there is a certain amount of like marketing finesse there, or like, marketing jugglery, whatever you want to call it. The second thing is, if you don't pay us at least $1,000, are you a serious customer or not?
Yeah.
And then we had actually shrunk the product into the basics, right? Which is, hey, you will only get A, B, and C, which was easy to sell, easy to explain, and very easy to onboard. We also limited it that if you're a Workday customer, you cannot even think about the $15,000 plan. So we selected, hey, what are the top applicant tracking systems which have the best APIs, easy to integrate for us, some of the best well-known mid-market HR systems and planning systems which have good API systems. So we made a pool and said, who are all the customers who either using A, B, or C software, right, are less than 115 employees, have raised at least a Series A, or we know they have raised a Series
Hmm.
B, and went and pitched to them. And then in 4 weeks, we're going to solve one problem that you are really facing. We are going to take you away from the most gnarly spreadsheet that you don't like, which is the
Yeah.
headcount spreadsheet, and
Yeah.
that's the focus.
Yeah.
So that is how we thought about the 15,000. We didn't give them the full
And do
product.
you still get into deals with the 15K now, or do you
Mhm.
now directly go to the
It's
50K?
Yeah, I think it's more the if tomorrow. So I'll give you good examples, right? Like there are some companies that are raising a round of funding right now. They have not yet burst out. They are maybe still sub 100. We tell them to take this because there
Yep.
is not like we are trying to mitigate the risk, right? Because it's very easy to upsell someone, right? But if they can, if and this is also, the 15K plan is also bought mostly by the management or the director level. I don't need to go to
Hmm.
the VP for that. They may not even
Hmm.
have a VP at that time, right? So if I go to the head of talent and I say, I'm going to solve this one problem for you, and they're like, okay, normally any HR software takes like 3 months to go, and you're going to show me value in 1 month. I'm like, absolutely, we're going to show you value in 1 month, right? We have also done, now we've stopped doing it because I have a VP of sales and he doesn't like doing this, and we have more brand cachet now. But I used to do this last year where I used to say, you know what, for this 15K plan, you have anyways net 30-day planning, net 30-day pricing, like you've got to pay me in 30 days. I will say, I'll put in a one time exit clause for you. Hey, you can exit the deal with no penalty 30 days after signing for whatever reason, right? It just cuts down on
Mm,
how many people you need to talk to.
yeah.
It is capping someone's downside, and
Yeah.
in the early days that can significantly reduce your sales cycle. Like for us, it was a 50%. I was like, what is the number one? This is a real story. Scale.ai. I
Hmm.
s- Today Scale.ai is a large customer for us. They are all over our website. They like us. They push us to do continually better and build new stuff. But my first deal was with them was like, hey, I don't know, Tushar, you have good promise, you have good bones in the product, but scale is a beast of a company to work with, right? Can your product stand all of this?
Yeah.
Can you work with us? And again, they said, you know what, if we want 45 days, if you cannot show me ABC in 45 days, I'm out. And I'm like, done. For me, it was like, okay, I would know within 30 days what is going to happen, right? And it just allows me to go get on the books an opportunity to work with scale. And if my product is good and I believe in what we are building, they will stay. And guess what, it took us 60 days to show them value, but they did not cancel. They could see what's happening, right? They could see the
Mm,
progress. But in the initial, why waste time trying to negotiate and say, why not cap their downside?
yeah.
Anyways, I don't make money on a customer in the first year, right? I will make
Yeah.
money in the customer in the second year and the third year. The logo is very good, right? We also tell people like, look, we're going to give you termination without cause just for the first 45 days. But if after that it is good, I'm going to make sure that, hey, you are a referenceable customer. So we have that sort of, we don't have
Yeah.
to put it in the contract. It's all good negotiation. And also it's like good, kind of like get, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. If this is very good, why wouldn't you give you a case study or this? And guess what? When we did a whole relaunch, Scale signed on to be a 3-year customer at their first year anniversary. They are all on our website, right? When I push something on LinkedIn, I always quote them and they always come back, and people from Scale come and comment on us.
Wow.
So why not?
How did
That
you
small
approach
thing.
that 3-year license? Did you reach out to them and you
This
say,
year,
hey, you've been a customer for a year. If you sign up for 3 years, I'll give you an X discount?
I think Scale does as a company. So there are again some nuances to this, right? I mean, I usually don't like doing 3-year deals because we are such a young company that we are building so many new things. Doing some sort of a blanket deal, because then we can't tell. Once you put the food out at the buffet, I can't say you can't eat this, you can't eat that, right? I can't go tell
Mm,
Scale that, oh, I just launched this whole new AI feature, but I'm not going to give it to you because it was not in your contract. They're going to
right.
be like, are you silly? Right? I want to use it, and I want to use it so that next after 3 years I give you another raise, right?
Yeah.
So uh, the way I usually do 2-year deals, but this was special in a way. Like, look, Scale is once in a generation type of company, and their partnership has been amazing with us, right? They've been really supportive, and I think they do long term planning as a business where they don't want to come and negotiate software again and again, right? They simply said, as long as we are within this parameter of headcount growth, let's do a fixed price. We'll pay you upfront in advance. So they basically, paid for my whole quarter in a way, right? But we don't want to come and negotiate again and again, right?
Yeah.
And for certain types of companies it makes sense. they
Yep.
didn't they didn't like ask for a huge discount. They made it easy for us as well. They said, look, this is good pricing. It's more than what you got last year, and it scales in certain
Yeah.
reasonable way, but it is still a fixed line item for us that we like. We don't like to go, and we like that assurance that we can use software, and it's the price is going to be a fixed line item for a long period of time.
What have you learned about carving out a space in a market that has, with Workday, for example, a juggernaut in there, a brand that everyone knows? And I don't know enough about your space to understand how you're complementing each other, how you're integrating, how you're,
I'll
but
I'll,
like,
I'll share
uh,
that. Yeah.
but I think there's a lot of companies who, they're tangentially competing with Salesforce, or they're tangentially, competing with, I don't know, AWS or Vercel. And there's always this debate of like, do we call them out? Do we like specifically say how we're different, how we're better than that one big company? Do we actually try to partner with them and kind of insert ourselves in their ecosystem? Like, how have you approached it? What have you learned around like nestling into a space where there's already some juggernauts?
This is controversial, right? It is like, when I was in HelpShift, right? HelpShift was doing HelpShift was a mobile SDK, but it was doing customer support. This was before Intercom, right? I think we did in-app chat before Intercom did in-app chat, right? But we did it so mobile focused. At that point in time, Salesforce was still the person that people were signing up for. Larger companies were like, oh, Salesforce customer support,
Yeah.
and I'm like this was a Nest before Google bought Nest, and we were talking to them, and we were like, hey, why would you go with Workday? You are a mobile first application. You should go with something that is mobile native, mobile first. And
You mean why are you going with Salesforce?
why are you going with
Yeah. Yeah.
Salesforce, right?
Yep.
So what we uncovered at that point in time is that they really didn't want to go with Salesforce as much for the user experience. They wanted Salesforce to be the place where you dump the data at the end, because all their downstream systems was important, right? So they were like, look, we will give you a certain amount of agents living in your dashboard, but anytime a ticket is closed, you take all the metadata and you just have to go write it back into Salesforce, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we so that is the thing that has always been stuck with me, that these are systems of record. These are not systems of decision. These are not systems of action. These are
Mm.
systems of record. As long as you go and say you push the data to there at the end of the conversation, 9 out of 10 customers would be very fine with it, right? The mistake we made at HelpShift was we started playing too nice and selling ourselves as an app exchange, like a little toy in the app exchange. So guess what? We got priced as a toy. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you're the app that I'm going to download from the app exchange, but has to live in the ecosystem, right? We don't do that in Workday. If Workday one day is going to be interested in investing in us, and Workday is going to be interested in probably buying us someday, it is not because we played nice with Workday. Workday is going to say like, okay, how much of the money Tushar or TeamOhana has taken away from us, right? Is it 10 million? It is 20 million, right? And
Yeah.
if we bring this into our foray, I'm going to get a new product, which is AI capabilities. Plus, I'm going to get a good team. And plus, I'm going to get this revenue, and it's going to be bundled in. So we are actually very aggressive right now. We have said, look, Workday is great in core HR functions. So we are drawing a line in the middle, a big fat line in the sand. If you want to do payroll, benefits administration, time and attendance, employee records and compliance, that's Workday. That's core
Mm-hmm.
HR. That's old
Mm-hmm.
HR. Workday is crap when it comes to strategic HR. Is your VP of engineering spending time analyzing their org chart in Workday? No. The VP of engineering is telling you, download everything, put it in a Miro board, and then I'm going to collaborate in a Miro board, because Miro board is modern. And you know what? No HR person is going to argue with the VP of engineering.
Right.
One of the most important things that Scale told me was that if you cannot get my hiring managers in your system doing the work, you're fired. I don't need
Yeah.
you as another tool. Then you're a glorified spreadsheet. If somebody bloody comes and tells me that I'm going to download the TeamOhana spreadsheet and I'm going to make and then upload the spreadsheets, it's out. When our system is, so when they were planning for the last year and they're going to start their planning again, everybody does that in this time range. And if the our system was slow, I got a message in the middle of the night from our main POCs like, why is the damn thing slow? And we got to work immediately. And within 24 hours, we made a code change and we said, now is it better? They're like, oh, it's slightly better. More work, make it more better, because that is the difference. If the
Mm-hmm.
hiring manager is not in your platform, then you're a glorified filing cabinet like Workday. So let's call Workday is great, and I don't need to tell Workday that they are great. The numbers speak for themselves. But I want to tell the buyer today where I am different. And if I have to tell the buyer where I am different, then I'm going to call Workday out. Yes, Workday is where data goes to go sit. We
Yeah.
like, has Gong replaced Salesforce? Absolutely bloody not. But I pay Gong a good amount of money and I pay Salesforce a good amount of money, right?
Right.
Gong solves a very important thing for me. And then, but my VP of sales and us, we run all our analytics still. Our dashboards are still in Salesforce. That's where we want
Yeah.
them to be. So at
Yeah.
the end, all Gong data goes back into Salesforce, right?
Yep. I love
Um,
it. No, that's yep, that makes sense. Now, what is working for you today in go to market as you're targeting bigger companies, but you also still happy to take the 150, 200 people organization? Like, is it outbound? Is it inbound? Content, ads, emails, SDRs? Like, what's working for you guys today?
Yeah, I may give you a boring answer because this is a hard. I don't believe in different. I don't think about channels as much.
Hmm.
Um, if you ask me, what are the channels? We only have two or three channels. We are we have one social channel which is consistently we post on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
We that is where our audience is sitting, that is where we need engagement, that is where we drop videos. And I have been doing this for a very long time. Like even in the first 6 months of starting the company, what we immediately did was I went to all our advisors and I said we're going to record a podcast. And
Nice.
I didn't have Riverside FM or any fancy things, but we were just recording Loom, and then I had a videographer who was cutting it into snippets, and we were uploading into YouTube. Right? We're
Yep.
not even going into like call it a podcast or whatever, but we started dropping these small video snippets on LinkedIn very early on that talk about what we are doing. Right? That is where we generate a lot of awareness. So I believe, and my head of marketing comes from a SEO and content background, right? And I have always believed that those are the people that are going to take us to the next step. Like it is so important now with the what is it called, AIO instead of SEO, right?
Geo,
All
I
our
think.
something like that, right? It's like
Yeah.
that how does AI index your website and your information
Yep.
and gives information about you. So when you ask for collaborative workforce intelligence, or you just say, hey, what is workforce intelligence, Gemini actually shows our video today, right?
Mm.
Because that's how we are owning the keyword and that's how we are owning the category. So I would say this is how when and we have a BDR, and our AEs do outbound as well. So we do
Mm-hmm.
be that is the email and phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? But every time someone receives a phone or receives an email, they are going onto our website. So we have spent a good amount of money with the messaging and the look and
Mm.
feel and the depth of our website. It has to look good. It has to look classy. It has to look, I don't know, better word than rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should feel that you want to do business with someone. So we set aside a lot of our marketing budget and we said we're going to do a rebrand, and we are going to do. We had a new logo. We had a whole new website. We had everything was new, right? So I would say that that is your most important asset.
Mm-hmm.
And then your other important asset is LinkedIn. And now you are sending messages for awareness, right? So we send messages out on LinkedIn. Our BDR is on LinkedIn. Our AEs are sending emails as well as phone calls. So there is you have to go into someone's inbox, but at the same time you have to make sure that what is the next step. So I always think about the next step. Even with ads, whatever
Mm-hmm.
we say on the ad, you click and you come into a landing page, or you click and come into a particular space on our website. So I think ads are good because people are still searching, whether on AI or they are searching on Google. If they click on something, you should have the right keywords, and then they should come to your website. So all doors are going to lead to your website. So just make sure that the website and the landing pages are good, right? And then
Yep.
own a couple of places. So we use a lot of video, and we use a lot of we do webinars with our customers, and we create those snippets, and then we keep pushing those content on LinkedIn. One thing that I am doing, where I got someone, and this is launching next week. In the context, by the time people hear this, it might have been launched, right? We were talking about the manifesto, right? So I'm fascinated with Joe Rogan and these long form podcasts. Right now, I cannot get Joe Rogan to interview me yet. So I went to someone who has been a podcaster in the fintech space, and has they used to work for Mosaic before, and and they are building their own podcast. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna pay you a certain amount of money to do a long form recording of me, and you can ask me anything. So I paid a very good
Yep.
podcaster to go and do research about our business and then frame the conversation, come up with the questions, and we recorded a 2 hour video. And now we are dropping that 2 hour video, which is edited, cleaned up, as a long form conversation that is going to stay on our website, that is going to be dropped on LinkedIn. We have to become the stewards of our own story. I'm not waiting for someone to come and
Mm,
interview me, right? We went and said, we have the money, let's go create our own long form content. Because guess what? Investors will take a look at it, right? Customers will take a look at it. Who is the best person to tell our story than me? So I need to be front and center. And I think that
yep.
is going to be really important. People like to, those are going to be split into chapters. We are really thinking what the chapters are going to be called, so that if
Yeah.
you are a VC and you want to click on something and say, hey, how did this guy get started, what is their revenue, who are their customers, what do they sell, what is their AI plan, you can just look at their chapters and read them. Same thing our customers would do,
That's
right?
super smart. And
So,
is
and it
that just
doesn't
a
cost that
one-off
much money.
thing, or are you planning to do this, I don't know, every month, every 3 months?
I think every quarter we want to do like a long form recording. So it starts today. So this was, imagine this is like the founder origin story, where we started, where we are, and where we are going. Our
Yeah.
next is going to be in October or November, where I'm going to talk about our AI launch, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next one happens in the new year, is like, okay, what did we achieve in the last 12 months? Did we hit our plans? Did we not? It's basically, I'm putting my professional life out there. I don't
Yeah.
call this like building in public. I'm not going there, but I am saying that why wait for some news organization or someone else?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the time to go. Like TechCrunch and all of these people have become like, okay, if somebody knows somebody, right? I will produce my own media and I will find my own distribution. Why
It's
should I wait
smart.
for someone else?
And then
Right?
I'm assuming you're chopping up that 2 hour thing into loads of clips that will go out on your LinkedIn.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very cool.
And what?
Very cool.
Every time a new account executive or a new marketer or a new engineer joins the company, I also send it to them.
Uh, yeah.
I'm like, if you don't have time to watch your CEO talk about your company for 2 hours, I think you should stop. And you can watch it at 1.5x, right? It's fine, right? I'm not complaining that you have to watch it at 1x speed. It's okay if you watch it, but you gotta, if that doesn't interest you and excite you, you're somewhere wrong. And I quiz people. What did I say on that? What did I say on that? So I know if you've seen it or not,
Ah,
right?
that's smart. No, I love that. This is super cool. All right, we're at time here. We actually went 4 minutes over time. So, Tushar, I appreciate you. If people want to check you out or want to check out Team Ohana, I'll put the link into the descriptions. Any
Appreciate
last
it. Yeah.
thoughts? Anything I should have asked that I didn't?
No, I think we covered a lot of ground. I would just leave folks with this, my fellow founders, marketers, sales folks, is that I think that the world is really changing. We have to start thinking like the old marketing tactics of direct to consumer, right? You have to go direct. And that's just, don't stick and say that, hey, I'm going to go direct to you, but I'm going to do it through ads or I'm going to do it through email. No, you have to do both, because
Mm,
people are going to Google you, people are going to check, and like we get Gemini recommending us, and chat, like one of our customer inbound leads said, I found you on Chat GPT. So
hmm.
think more integrated. Don't go wide. Pick 2 or 3 channels and go deep in them. That is going to pay you a higher dividend than trying to do too many things.
I love it.
But think integrated marketing, integrated sales.
There we go. All right, Tushar, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Finn.